We're experiencing an unprecedented job market right now. The number of layoffs that are happening are increasing, the number of people that are unemployed has been spiking, and the number of job postings has been decreasing. And it's a perfect storm of people really struggling in the job market. And I've been speaking about this very vocally over the last year. We have a competition issue. The fact that you can't get a job right now is not because you're suddenly unemployable or that your skills aren't worthy, but rather there are too many people looking for too few jobs. And at the same time, you have these CEOs that are racing to push AI into every aspect of our workplace, even when it's not ready for prime time. And they're offshoring these roles as fast as they lay them off. And so there's kind of this perfect storm of job market collapse. And I honestly feel that we are in a full on collapse of the job market as we know it. The job market that existed in 2019 and earlier is never coming back. And we have to brace ourselves for a new reality. And the problem is, none of us know what that's going to look like. But one of the things that people are talking about, and it does seem to be gaining some steam on social media, is this idea of universal basic income being the solution for everything. And I've got my own opinions on it. I want to walk through a little bit in this video about what exactly universal basic income means for the average person. I want you to at least put your thinking caps on it. Now, I'm not an expert in monetary policy. This is not my wheelhouse. But I'm just reading the tea leaves and I'm interpreting it as kind of a normie, if you will. But ultimately, my goal is to try to reclaim control of my career and act like my own CEO. Doesn't mean I'm necessarily owning a business, but I'm trying to take control back, and universal basic income kind of goes against everything that I stand for. So I want to walk through some of the reasons why I think that universal basic income may not be in our best interest. Do your own research, come with your own opinions. I'm sure a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this. But at the end of the day, you have to make a decision, go in eyes wide open, and know what exactly you're getting yourself into. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into a couple of things over on Twitter that I found, and I want you to take just a close listen to what's being said, and again, do your own research. So on the Twitterverse, this topic has been trending, and it's Elon Musk and this universal basic income. Basically what he is saying, let me see if I can scroll up and find the most recent. He is saying very recently that Elon says that there is going to be no need to save money because of universal basic income coming our way. And I have been trying to find the root, the source material for this, and I have, as of right now, have not, although I haven't done a super deep dive, but I haven't necessarily seen him say this is specifically coming and that we don't need to worry about saving money. To me, this seems like a very reckless type of thing to be proclaiming, especially in somebody in his position. So I'm a little skeptical that this was actually said verbatim. But as far as saving money, I certainly wouldn't take him at face value on this. Do not plan for universal basic income to come and save you. There's like this idea of a savior complex where we have these problems that are created in the world. This perfect storm of job market news that is coming out, this perfect storm of economy issues where we have increasing debt to the point where we're basically insolvent in the United States. And we keep on pumping more money into this basically failed system. And it's like some people say it's late stage capitalism, and it's in the process of its downward spiral. I really do believe that there is some serious legs to the idea that this is the fallen empire, so to speak, or an empire in collapse, like the Rome is falling kind of thing. From a financial perspective, at least, the dollar is being systematically is dismantled right now. Now, if you look at the price of gold and silver specifically, you can see a better snapshot of what's happening in the overall economy. And usually when people go into gold, and in particular gold, but even silver, it's usually not because they love the asset. It's more a place to store and save value when things get really bad. In almost every case, when a major issue has happened in the economy, major problems in the economy, we see the price of gold spiking because there's a lack of confidence in the markets. People move all their assets to gold and then they kind of let it ride out. You can see here in 2008, after the subprime crisis, the financial crisis, we saw a major run on gold. And then over the course of, this was when the stock market was doing really well. Basically the last decade, we haven't had a major correction in a long time. We're way overdue for that. But you can see the market for gold fell considerably for a long period of time. And some people are saying, like financial analysts are saying, well, we're in this massive cup and handle with this and also the silver chart. But we see people moving into gold in earnest. And obviously it is spiking considerably to where we are today. Same thing goes with silver. If you look at the silver chart and we go back 20 years, it's the same exact thing. We're seeing silver has hit all-time highs and it's not even close, and not even accounting for inflation, silver is actually still really undervalued compared to what it should be. Same thing with gold. And there's been talk about a gold reset the price reset to basically wipe out a lot of our debt. We have this gold that's sitting there that hasn't been revalued in the United States since like the 1950s or something. It's like worth a fraction of what the actual market price is. So there's some talk about there being a financial reset, and a lot of these things are starting to come to fruition. You also look at the price of oil, you look at the interest rates, all of these different indicators that tell us that we are sitting on the precipice of a major financial crisis that might be, in my opinion, might be planned. But nonetheless, Elon Musk is apparently saying that there's no need to save money because a universal basic income is coming, or he's saying universal high income is coming, where there will be no poverty in the future and no need to save money. There will be a universal high income. So let's listen to what exactly he's saying and how is this thing going to even get funded, and how is this even going to be a reality? In a way, it kind of makes sense that this is where things are heading, because AI coming in, potentially, I believe that AI is going to take every one of our jobs. There's going to be a point in time where you will not need humans to do a lot of the mundane work, including my job, including creating content. I mean, it's already happening. There's already these AI bots out there making content. Half the stuff you read on Twitter, half the stuff you read on LinkedIn is generated by an AI bot somewhere. In fact, most of the arguing you do in the comment section is through you're arguing with a whole bunch of bots. In most cases, because they get people riled up, and they are programmed to keep people in a state of chaos and fighting with one another and feeling like there is these issues, these social issues that are very pervasive that everybody's talking about, but in reality, it's mostly these bots that are creating this narrative, these controlled narratives. And I think that a lot of what we're experiencing in social media is that. But let's hear what Elon actually has to say about universal basic income.
I think we're headed to a radically different world. I think a good world, an interesting world. My prediction actually for humanoid robots is that ultimately there will be tens of billions. I think everyone will want to have their personal robot. You can think of it like as though you had your own personal C-3PO or R2-D2, but even better. Then who wouldn't want to have their own personal C-3PO, R2-D2? That would be pretty great. I also think it unlocks an immense amount of economic potential, because when you think about like, what is the output of an economy, it is productivity per capita times population or capita. Once you have humanoid robots, the actual economic output potential is tremendous. It's really unlimited. Potentially, we could have an economy 10 times the size of the current global economy, where no one wants for anything. Sometimes in AI they talk about universal basic income. I think it's actually going to be universal high income, where anyone can have any goods or services that they want. Now, there obviously are some risks, which illustrate perhaps if we don't do this right, you could have like a James Cameron sort of movie, Terminator. We don't want that one. But having sort of a Star Trek future would be great, where we're out there exploring the stars, discovering the nature of the universe, and a level of prosperity and hopefully happiness that we can't quite imagine yet.
Now, it's really interesting what he's saying, because he's going beyond just AI in the workplace with chatbots that are on your computer that do a lot of the work for you. He's actually talking about robots, physical robots that are doing all this manual work. So your housekeeping, your yard maintenance, factory work. We already have automated vehicles. We already have restaurants that are experimenting with fully automated systems. We've got delivery bots that are now flying packages directly to your door. The fact of the matter is that this reality, if they're just talking about it publicly, the reality is behind the curtain. They already have all this stuff and it's already ready to go. And now we're just kind of waiting for this quote unquote Star Trek future. Now there are, to his point, there's two different timelines. Really, there's more than two different timelines, but the two major timelines that he's referring to is you have the Terminator timeline where Skynet, ironically, he is the Starlink, but Skynet is basically goes rogue. You have this killer robots that take over the planet and kind of do all this stuff. Then you've got the Star Trek future where you've got all of these wonderful innovations, bells and whistles, and it is potentially a more positively painted picture of this universal, I'll call it universal basic or universal, what he's calling high income, but there's still a potential, in my opinion, there's still a potential trap there as well. No, full disclosure, I'm very skeptical of this, if it's actually going to work, if we're actually going to ever see this and have it be something that is truly to the positive benefit of humanity, or if it's another control mechanism. But nonetheless, Elon Musk believes that we are going to have a Star Trek future, that we'll be able to explore the stars. And I actually fully believe that potentially in my lifetime, we will see us leave the solar system to go off and go explore the great wonders of the universe in a much more Star Trek type of reality. That I think is coming. But in the meantime, we still have to figure out what to do for work. And if he is recommending don't worry about saving money, I just feel that that's a very reckless thing to say, to give people this sense of hope that there is going to be a solution, that they don't have to do anything. They can just kind of sit back and let somebody else come and save the day. That's my biggest issue with this. It's the idea that you're handing your power over to somebody else, giving away your ownership, your sovereignty to some other entity that can then potentially control everything about you. That's the biggest issue. It's the sovereignty factor, and it's the opposite of reclaiming control in your career. It's actually giving even more control away. There are some people who are speaking out about this and the dangers that come with this. Catherine Austin Fitts is one of them. And if you're not familiar with who Catherine Austin Fitts is, she was the Assistant Secretary of Housing and Urban Development under the Bush administration. So she was a well-regarded public figure, has all the Wharton MBAs, all the credentials. And she's been talking in a lot of detail about basically this monetary system and the house of cards that it is built upon, and well worth spending at least a little bit of time going down some rabbit holes on some of her interviews and see how it feels for you. But one of the things she does warn is about universal basic income and its potential to be a control mechanism for the population. So let's just have a quick listen to what she says about this.
When the central bankers of the G7 nations went into the room in Jackson Hole in August 2019, and they voted on the Going Direct Reset. Everything that's happening to us right now is part of the Going Direct Reset, and they voted on it. It was a plan. Okay, so they wrote a plan. They decided to do this. So they've been engaged in the financial coup for 20 years. We're now coming into the end game. They have to consolidate the financial coup, and they vote on the Going Direct Reset. And with that one decision, they made a decision over the next year to put 500 million people out of work. That's the equivalent of dropping several nuclear bombs around the world. That's financial warfare. And they made it intentionally, they made it knowingly, and it was a plan. And what is very important to understand when you think about this pandemic is people are not dying from magic viruses. People are dying from tyranny. They're dying from a great poisoning that's part of that tyranny. But our problem, and the thing we need to be afraid of, is tyranny, because the tyranny is about to get much, much worse. And it's the passports and that system of central bank digital control that will give them the ability to do that.
So what she's talking about is this global reset and the implementation of central banking digital currencies, so the CBDCs. And now this interview is obviously a little bit old. It's probably early pandemic, but it is still very relevant to what is potentially going to happen with these universal basic or high income or universal basic incomes that are potentially coming our way. And here's another quick snippet of her explaining the all digital financial system and why it should be of concern.
If you create an all digital financial system, you create a control system. It's the end of currency. It's not a new form of currency. It's the end of currency. And you can combine controlling people's financial transactions using AI and software with social credit systems that basically say, if you don't do what we say, then you can't leave your house. So imagine during COVID, during the pandemic, If the leadership had had total financial transaction control, they could have literally micromanaged your compliance with lockdown procedures, or if they want to mandate certain health practices. If you don't do this health thing, then they're going to cut off your money. So it's a total control system.
So what she's saying is that if you rely on universal basic income for your entire existence, that you just kind of sit back and let whatever entity, whether it's a government entity or something else, create this income for you that you are completely relying on. Now you are at the mercy of, if they say jump, you have to ask them how high, because with the flip of a switch, you can be easily shut off. That's the issue that I have. It's the complete opposite of reclaiming control. You are giving all of your power away to something outside of yourself. And trust me, as much as I want to believe that this would be implemented with a high degree of integrity and honesty and transparency, the fact of the matter is how the planet is being run. And this is not just one country. This is not just one political party. This is not just one anything. The entire planet, how it has been run and controlled for a long period of time, I'm talking for thousands of years, how it is being controlled. I just don't have a high degree of faith in our current trajectory for this to be implemented with humanity's best interest at heart. Color me very skeptical, put my tinfoil hat on, whatever you want to say. I just believe in its current state, this is not something that I think is in my best interest, and you have to make a decision if you feel that this is going to be in your best interest as well. Ultimately, the power resides in you, and you have to decide if this is in alignment with where you're growing. And while to me, this doesn't feel like a good thing for us collectively, I'm going to implore you to do your own research on this before declaring that universal basic income is the solution, because to me, again, it's the ultimate giving away of your power. So as you can tell, I'm not really a fan of universal basic income for a lot of the reasons that I've talked about in this video. I understand why people are clamoring for it. People are desperate. The job market is completely broken, and this is the best solution that is being handed to us. But to me, and this is strictly my own opinion, so take this with a grain of salt, it feels like this is a manufactured problem that has happened over the course of decades, a visceral response by us normies, and then a convenient solution that's being presented that may or may not be in our best interest. But to me, this is one solution that I'm not particularly interested in, and because I am a sovereign person, I want to look at all of my choices, and I choose to reclaim control in my own career. Now, I realize for some people that it is easier said than done, and this is not an easy path. But the alternative to me does not seem at all appealing or an option. Now, if you want to reclaim control in your career, I do have a solution that I've come up with. It doesn't mean that this is the only solution, but this is my solution. I have figured out how to become the CEO of my career. This does not mean that you need to be a business owner. I want to be very clear about that, but rather it's taking the necessary steps to start to take back ownership so that you're no longer in control of third parties who determine your entire destiny. And I've created a very detailed webinar that actually walks you through step-by-step how to do this. And you can check it out. It's absolutely free. I will leave a link for it. You can also find it on my website, alifeafterlayoff.com. So if you are tired of feeling powerless and you're ready to start taking back ownership in your career and in your life, because let's face it, this is going to become a life decision at some point, you have to reclaim control. And there's a pathway to do that. It's not easy. It takes time. It's not an instant solution. It's not a get rich quick. It's none of that stuff. But rather, it is a methodical shifting of mindset on how you approach everything you do in your career. And you can become the owner of it. So check that out if you think you're interested. Anyway, I hope that this was interesting to you. Again, I am not an expert in universal basic income or the finance industry as a whole. I'm just seeing what I'm seeing. I'm feeling what I'm feeling. And honestly, this is just my opinion. So let me know what your thoughts are. Are you interested in universal basic income if it comes up to be an actual thing? And more importantly, do you feel that this is the only path forward? Leave a comment, let me know. Anyway, I'm going to be making more content around this and around careers in kind of a bigger picture. So if you're interested in this type of content, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Would appreciate a like too. That really does help get the message out to a broader audience, helps me continue to do this, bring you this content for free. And as always, appreciate you watching. We'll see you on the next one.